In this tutorial, we are going to describe the three simple steps needed to run any PowerShell command in SharePoint. So this would give you more power, more confidence, and feel more skilled in SharePoint. And you can solve any business requirement which cannot be done through the central admin. And PowerShell is also much more secure than a batch scripting. Let's just go ahead and see the three steps. Open the PowerShell window. The first step is to find the command you want. For that, you use the get command. The second step is to get the details of the command using the get help. And the third step is to test the command, preferably starting with the get operation. And then lastly, if you need to automate, you can create a PS1 file to automate it across various. So the first step you have open, the PowerShell ISA window is already open. So first we will add PS snap in the PowerShell point. Now let's use the get command. Suppose you want to view all the PowerShell commands, you can use -module and paste this. But this would return a lot of commands. So for filtering, there are good techniques. And if you observe in the old version of SharePoint, you always had to use a command error action silently continue. When you execute this a second time, you might be thrown an error. That issue is resolved here. And for commenting, you use this hash symbol. So now let's try to. We are now in the central admin side. Suppose you have a requirement that you want to see all the site collections in a particular web application in one shot. In central admin, you cannot really find out the count or do much more than you would have. If there are tons of site collections, you would have to go through all of them. Now let's suppose you have a requirement, something related to the web application. So this particular script, what you do is you use the get command. There is a parameter for noun where you specify the parameter and what noun, which contains the requirement you want to do, and a verb which can be get, set, or update, or new depending on your requirement. Let's suppose in this particular example we want to do something related to the web application. So we would write so you would get command noun and sp followed by the requirement name. And if you observe, the variables are starting with a dollar symbol followed by and equal to, and you specify the value here. Now let's just execute this. So if you see, okay, if you observe, there are only two commandlets for web application, where one of them is a generic web application commandlet, another is a HTTP throttling monitor, which allows you to monitor the HTTP request on a web application. Suppose you want to view all the commands, not just get commands on the web application, you can just remove the verb part and just run the. So if you see, there are these many actions. You can disable the throttling, you can enable the throttling, you can create a new web application using the new command, you can remove a web application using the remove command, you can update a web application using the set command, and you can convert a web application using convert. So now let's just try to get the help. Step 2 is get help for the command. Now, it's always good to do a update on the help file. So let's now just first try to do the update. Update might take some little time. So that command is update-help. We are just doing an update for Microsoft SharePoint or PowerShell, or you can do update for the entire PowerShell. So let's just try to run the update. If you observe, you can use write-host, which is like the print command, which will simply print out the output on the screen, and you can even have the coloring options. Now let's just run this command. So if you see the update has started, and it is waiting. Once it is completed, we will see the update help file. Now, since the module threw some error, we've just removed the SharePoint module and we just updated the entire help. See, now the update help is complete. Now let's go ahead with the get help command. For get help, you just type get-help, then the command name. Here we are going to do get-sp application, and the best parameter to pass now is the -show window, which gives you everything. Let's just execute it. If you see, it gives a cool window giving you the entire details along with the examples. Previously, if you remember, you had to pass parameters like -full, -online, or -examples, -detail. Now all of them comes under show window. So this gives you a detail. So in your second step, after you get the help, you need to find out just the parameters which you need. For us, at the maximum, we would need only the parameter. And also if you observe, there are no parameters without square brackets. That is, if a square bracket is there, it is optional. So it is not necessary that we need to pass any parameters. So that's it about the help file. Now let's move on to the third step. Before moving on to the third step, I forgot to mention the examples. Have a look at the examples. We will try to test the examples and then see how your requirement can also be met. Now, as per the example, it was simple where it assigned the get-sp web application. Before we moving on to the variable assignment, how to test the code, test the command. Type the command using tab. Just see get hyphen, the command's IntelliSense comes. If it does not come, you can use control space and it would come. And then sp web. You don't need to type the entire word as it comes. You just double click or click enter. After that, if you have parameters, I will go on to that later. Now let's just try to execute this. If you see the results have come, it lists all the web applications. You can also view this from the central admin, but this gives you more control. Let's see what else we can do with this in PowerShell now. So there is, when you pipe out, this is the pipe operation which will pass the output to the next command. So if we want all the members of this web application, we can see how a requirement can be met. For example, there is lots of properties for this web application which can be viewed or even updated. So you can view the running jobs using the running jobs. You can see if the recycle bin is enabled. You can see a lot of things here. Suppose you want to find out the specific, you can have a look at the maximum list item, row storage, and let's say whether it needs upgrade, the job definitions. Let's just try to view one property, maximum file size. So if you notice, there are many things you cannot do from the UI which can be done from the PowerShell. There are so many features from the PowerShell properties which you can update. Okay, the maximum file size has no values. Let's try for some other property. Now you see, we just run a command to select just the URL and the sites, which is just nothing but the list of site collections under a web applications. Now let's try the filter option. You would first pass the pipe filter command, and you can use a question mark or a where hyphen object or simply where for filtering. It doesn't really matter. Any of these three is fine. Then open the braces, then put a dollar sign, put underscore to referencing the current variable. Let's say we are searching for the IT URL web application alone. So you would give URL. If you know the exact value, you would use equal to, or more generally we would use like. Let's say it contains star IT, and then let's just close and run there. So now if you see, filter helps you to filter the results. Instead of returning all the results, there might be business requirements where you might be wanting to work with only one particular web application. Now let's go ahead and try the parameters. You would type the command name followed by hyphen. You can give a tab or just the interspace comes up. Put the identity and you can give the URL you want. Now if we give http hyphen it dot assignment to a variable, you put the dollar sign, type the variable name according to the naming conventions, and then put the command. Let's just execute this. Now let's just try to find itwa dot sites. Let's look at all the sites under this. So this is a list of all the site collections under it. And suppose you want to get the count of the result, you can use the measure command. So if you see, it lists the count as well as the average, sum, maximum, minimum, and property, which is pretty useful. Now let's just look at a for each example where we are trying to loop through all the web applications. We put the web applications in a WA variable, and for each web application we are going to look at the alternate URLs. So if you look at the results, HR Web has one default and one intranet or two URLs. All the rest of the applications are only belonging to the default zone. There are many ways to output the result. For the out grid view is pretty simple. Out grid view helps to get the result in a grid view format, or you can use the format hyphen table. Format hyphen table, format hyphen list. Now regarding the output, out grid view is the best where it gives you a cool Excel type of overview. You can even start filtering. This is very nice. And other options are the default format table, which you might always already be aware of. Format list, format table lists the output in this format. That is a generic one we see. List gives the values of many properties. So if you want to see the detailed value of many properties, format list is pretty useful. So that's it. That covers the basic. So three steps are get the command using get command, get help using get help, and test the command using the examples. Thank you.